Describing terrorists in this way, using a legitimate term jihad, which means to purify oneself or to wage a holy struggle for a moral goal, risks giving these murderers the religious legitimacy they desperately seek but in no way deserve. Worse, it risks reinforcing the idea that the United States is somehow at war with Islam itself. And this is why President Obama has confronted this perception directly and forcefully in his speeches to Muslim audiences, declaring that America is not and never will be at war with Islam. Instead, as the President has made clear, we are at war with Al-Qaeda, which attacked us on 9/11 and killed 3,000 people. We are at war with its violent extremist allies who seek to carry on Al-Qaeda's murderous agenda. These are the terrorists we will destroy. These are the extremists we will defeat.
With all due respect, the fact is we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make? It is our job to figure out what happened and do everything we can to prevent it from ever happening again, Senator. Now,
Mr. Secretary, we think that there was a cover-up of some kind of wrongdoing that led this administration to lie to the American people about the nature of the attack immediately after the attack and for a week after that attack. We need to have these questions answered. We need to talk to the people who are on the scene. Can you give us a commitment now that for this administration, you will be coming up with the request, the honest request of this investigative committee as to who was evacuated and how to talk to them so we can get a straight answer and an understanding of what happened in Benghazi?
I don't think anybody lied to anybody. And let's find out exactly together what happened, because we got a lot more important things to move on to and get done.
Your testimony, as I understand it, Secretary Panetta, that you talked to the President of the United States one time.
Talked to him on September 11th with regards to the fact that we were aware this attack was taking place.
One time?
Right.
General Dempsey, did you ever talk to the President of the United States at all?
Yes.
You talked to him how many times?
The same one time.
How long did the conversation last?
We were there in the office for probably 30 minutes.
So you talked to him for 30 minutes, one time, and you never talked to him again until after the attack was over?
That's right.
Were there any AC-130 gunships within 1,000 miles of Benghazi, Libya?
No, sir.
Were there any AC-130 gunships within 2,000 miles of Benghazi, Libya? What would have been the appropriate platform?
The appropriate platform, Senator, would have been to have boots on the ground ahead of the event.
Would an AC-130 been a good platform to help defend the consulate after the attack? Is there a saying in the military, when you go into harm's way, we've got your back?
Of course, yes, sir.
Did you know how long the attack was going to last, Secretary Panetta?
No idea.
My question is, was one airplane anywhere in the world deployed in the aid of the consulate?
If you're talking about a strike aircraft, no, Senator.
Was any soldier en route to help these people before the attack was concluded?
Only the personnel that were in Tripoli.
Okay. Was any DOD asset ever deployed to help these people before the end of the attack?
No, because the attack ended before they could get off the ground.
Now, you knew about the cable from Ambassador Stevens because General Ham informed you of it. Is that correct, General Dempsey?
In a written weekly report.
Okay. So when Secretary Clinton testified a few weeks ago that she had a clear-eyed assessment of the threat we faced in Libya, is that really a credible statement if she didn't know about the ambassador's cable on August the 15th saying we can't defend this place?
Well, I don't know that she didn't know about the cable.
She said she didn't.
Then that's a...
Are you stunned that she didn't?
I would call myself surprised that she didn't.
Okay. Are you surprised that the President of the United States never called you, Secretary Panetta, and say, how's it going?
You know, normally in these situations...
did he know the level of threat?
Let me finish the answer. We were deploying the forces. He knew we were deploying the forces. He was being kept updated.
Well, I hate to interrupt you, but I got limited time. We didn't deploy any forces.
No,
did you call him back? Wait a minute.
The event was over by the time...
Mr. Secretary, you didn't know how long the attack would last. Did you ever call him and say, Mr. President, it looks like we don't have anything to get there anytime soon.
The event was over before
it
we could
lasted
move
almost
any assets.
8 hours, and my question to you is, during that 8-hour period, did the President show any curiosity about how's this going? What kind of assets do you have helping these people? Did he ever make that phone call?
Look, there is no question in my mind that the President of the United States was concerned about American lives.
Well, all due respect, I
frankly,
don't
all
believe
of us
that's
were
a
concerned
credible
about
statement if he never called and asked you, are we helping these people? What's happening to them?
The purpose of staff is to be able to get that kind of information, and those staff were working with us.
So you think it's a typical response of the President of the United States to make one phone call, do what you can, and never call you back again and ask you, how's it going, by the way? Show any frustration? We don't have any assets in there to help these people for over 7 hours?
The President is well informed about what is going on. Make no mistake about it.
Well, that is interesting to hear.
Who has trigger authority on a response to something like this?
Well, in extremis, I
mean, you say we don't need permission to send a C-130 in there to disrupt. Who orders it in there in a situation like this? Who has the authority to order the C-130s, wherever they are, Italy, wherever they are, to take action? If you can't find the President, is the President the only guy that can give that order?
No, sir. Okay? Basically, in the absence of permissions, okay, you have standing orders. And one of the standing orders to the geographic combatant commander is to preserve life of American citizens.
Exactly. Precisely.
I wanted to ask about the families of these 4 Americans who were killed. Sean Smith's father, Ray, said he believes his son basically called 911 for help, and they didn't get it. On 9/11, as Commander-in-Chief, did you issue any orders to try to protect their lives?
Ed, I will put forward every bit of information that we have. I can tell you that immediately upon finding out that our folks were in danger, that my orders to my national security team were do whatever we need to do to make sure they're safe. And that's the same order that I would give any time.
Mr. President, let's begin with the news of the day. Were the Americans under attack at the consulate in Benghazi, Libya, denied requests for help during that attack? And is it fair to tell Americans that what happened is under investigation and we'll all find out after the election?
Well, the election has nothing to do with 4 brave Americans. These are folks who served under me that I had sent to some very dangerous places. Nobody wants to find out more what happened than I do.
Were they denied requests for help during the attack?
The minute I found out what was going on, I gave 3 very clear directives. Number 1, make sure that we are securing our personnel and doing whatever we need to. Number 2, we're going to investigate exactly what happened to make sure it doesn't happen again. Number 3, find out who did this so we can bring them to justice. And, you know, I guarantee you that everybody in the State Department, our military, CIA, you name it, had number 1 priority making sure that people were safe. These are our folks.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Mr. Hicks, after your visit with Congressman Chaffetz, or Congressman Chaffetz's visit, did you feel any kind of shift in the way you were treated? But yet, right after the attack and before the attack, you had all kinds of praise for your leadership. You got a call from Secretary Clinton. You got a call from the President praising you for your service and how you handled things. Was there a seminal moment in your mind to when all this praise and appreciation turned into something else?
In hindsight, I think it began after I asked the question about Ambassador Rice's statement on the TV show.
What other impediments have you had, or how have you felt since deciding to come forward? Do you feel like they've treated you any differently from that point on?
I was angry with the way I'd been criticized. I thought it was unfounded. I felt like I'd been tried and convicted in absentia.
What is your job right now?
What is my job? I am a foreign affairs officer in the Office of Global Intergovernmental Affairs.
Okay, a far cry from where you were and your level of capabilities.
Yes, sir.
Right. Well, thank you. I would just close with the fact that, we have a president that's made it his policy since he took office not to knee-jerk or jump to conclusions when it comes to some tragedy or event. But yet, why did he do it in this case? Why was he quick to jump to the conclusion that this was a protest due to a YouTube video? I think we all know that's not true, and I think we all need to find the answer to that.
Could I just clarify? The job that I have right now, between my curtailment and my finding of this job that I have now, I had no meaningful employment. It's a demotion.
September 11th, Benghazi, Libya. Terrorists linked to al-Qaeda kill 4 Americans, including Ambassador Chris Stevens. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is briefed at 2 a.m. by the ambassador's deputy that it was, in fact, terrorism.
I briefed her on developments.
Yet 2 days later, Secretary Clinton and others blamed protesters and
An awful internet video that we had nothing to do with.
An offensive video.
Deputy Hicks was shocked.
I was stunned. My jaw dropped. I was embarrassed.
But when Hicks dared to question why Secretary Clinton and others were contradicting the facts he told her, Clinton's chief of staff ordered him not to talk to Congress.
There was a concerted effort to shut him up. He was demoted. He was chewed out, and he essentially says he now has a job with no real responsibilities.
A 22-year diplomatic veteran, intimidated for daring to blow the whistle, all under Hillary Clinton's watch. How could this happen? Why did she blame a video? And was she part of a cover-up?
Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make?
The difference is a cover-up and 4 American lives that deserve the truth.
I want to explain a little bit on Benghazi and how we got here. It's beginning to unfold exactly as we laid it out on this network within the first week. We were called conspiracy freaks. You're now seeing the testimony. We had several people leak information to us. You're now seeing some of these people begin to appear, or at least some of their words appear. Isn't that strange? Which one is the conspiracy freak? This is what you think is true about the United States. You think that we have this policy that says we are against terror. But the truth is, we're only against al-Qaeda terrorists. That's it. Now, why is that? Well, because we've made a pact with Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is against al-Qaeda too. Remember, these were al-Qaeda guys that broke off and left Saudi Arabia. They want the kingdom to fall. But the Muslim Brotherhood is actually for Saudi Arabia. They're financed by Saudi Arabia. If you understand that al-Qaeda is the Bloods and the Crips is the Muslim Brotherhood, you begin to understand it in American terms. And let me show you another way to look at it. Al-Qaeda is the Weather Underground, and the Muslim Brotherhood is SDS, or Acorn. Acorn. That's the difference. The Muslim Brotherhood has decided to be the Peace and Justice Party, Acorn. They're both radicals, but Al-Qaeda said we're going to blow them all up and kill them. Muslim Brotherhood said, no, we're going to infiltrate everything, and then we'll kill them. And we'll show you how they're doing that in Egypt tonight. Muslim Brotherhood, we've decided that SDS and Acorn, that's good. Al-Qaeda is bad, because that's what Saudi Arabia wants. Now let me show you how this bleeds in the Middle East and exactly what happened over with Benghazi. Remember, we supported the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. We said that they were fine because, again, that's Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia's enemy is Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda is our enemy as well. So we helped the Muslim Brotherhood here, and it spread. In Libya, we were helping get rid of Gaddafi. Who attacked us? Many of the people that were attacking us, they were not Muslim Brotherhood, Al-Qaeda allies. Al-Qaeda enemy, Al-Qaeda enemy. Al-Qaeda attacks us here. At a CIA safe house. Why? Why was it a safe house? Was it a safe house because we were running guns on a boat to Turkey into Syria, which the Saudi Arabians, all the New York Times has already verified all of this. Saudi Arabia said, support the Muslim Brotherhood in Syria. They're begging us to supply guns to Syria. So we did, on a boat to Turkey into Syria, which, coincidentally, CARE, which is Muslim Brotherhood, in Texas, the vice president, he goes over to Turkey in December and then to Syria, and he's running that operation. That's what it is. The entire operation originated from Benghazi. And there's only one person that was running the guns, and that's Ambassador Stevens. And he was giving the guns to the captain of a wildly reported Libyan ship carrying, I'm quoting, I believe, the New York Times, the largest consignment of weapons for Syria. Ambassador Stevens was the broker. The administration could not have this information out, especially right before an election. The publicity the story was getting was killing them, and the administration had to say they weren't providing material support for the rebels. They're hiding that fact because they knew the weapons were falling into the hands of not only extremists like the Muslim Brotherhood that they don't want to say they're doing anything with in Syria, and also Al-Qaeda and other groups. That's why they concocted this story about a YouTube video. The Truth of Gun Running program gone bad, resulting in the deaths of a U.S. ambassador and 3 other Americans. Obviously a little devastating. And so they lied. We, the American people, just kept saying, well, they're just trying to hide that Al-Qaeda is still going. No, no, no. No, they were hiding that they're running guns to the Muslim Brotherhood. And then they shielded the president because they knew when this thing came out, the president was going to be in real trouble. That's why at 5 o'clock, oh, I got sleepy. Remember? I went to bed after my 5 o'clock meeting. No, he didn't. Now, why doesn't anyone in the media care that Syrian rebels, who Obama is supporting, elected Ghassan Hittu into their interim government? Hittu came from Dallas, Texas, where he was a little-known businessman who had ties to the Muslim Brotherhood and Islamic groups such as CARE, where he was a vice president, and the Islamic Services Foundation. Why are we in bed again with the Muslim Brotherhood? Our relationship to Saudi Arabia, and that's where the Muslim Brotherhood comes from. We told you on The Blaze about the Saudi national being labeled a terrorist after being questioned after the Boston bombing, and everyone said it was a conspiracy, even though we showed you all the paperwork. It was a conspiracy because where did it go? Why didn't anybody cover it? Well, let me give you another story that you will read only on The Blaze. The DHS has opened an ongoing investigation into human trafficking at McLean, Virginia, in a location owned by the King of Saudi Arabia. This is an extraordinarily disturbing story that you will see in the next 20 minutes and on a special at 8 p.m. tonight about human trafficking on a new broadcast called For the Record. 8 p.m. tonight is a special. Nobody has been arrested. They picked up 2 girls that said that they were being used as sex slaves, and it was Saudi Arabia at an embassy in McLean, Virginia. But that story's not in the news. And nobody's been arrested. Why is that? Saudi Arabia. The Muslim Brotherhood, this administration has called them secular. They play dumb at every turn. When the radical Islamist Mohammed al-Bari was appointed to the Homeland Security Advisory Council, Janet Napolitano, Department of Homeland Security, said this.
Were you aware that he spoke at the big event in Texas honoring the Ayatollah Khomeini?
I'm not aware of all the places he has spoken.
The gentleman's time has expired. If I could just have 15 seconds, this is critical. Secretary, were you aware that a week ago today, from his home computer, he accessed the SLIC database, got information off, and has been shopping a story to national media on Islamophobia directed at the governor of Texas and the security folks there in Texas? Were you aware of that?
No.
Thank you, Mr.
I'm
Yes,
telling
she
you
was.
it happened. She was aware. If she wasn't aware, she's incompetent and she should be fired. This whole Benghazi story is much deeper than just politics. It's all about ideology. We are getting into bed with evil, and tonight I'm going to show you the nature of that evil that this administration has befriended.